Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Well, a very happy Monday to you. Welcome in. It is time once again to talk a little NBA Finals here on the NBA Tip-Off Show, powered by WagerTalk.com. Game 5. Hard to believe. It seems like, well, just a month ago we played a Game 4. But yes, we have a Game 5 tonight. Golden State and the Boston Celtics. And you guys are in for a treat because we've got 3 of the most profitable NBA cappers at Wager Talk joining us here today to try to make heads or tails of all of it, as Andy Lang in the house, Tony Mejia, and of course, Mr. Rob Vino ready to go, talk some NBA action. I'll say it again. I mean, I can't. When was that Game 4? It seems like a million years ago, Andy Lang. Scheduling has been interesting, shall we say. You know, I started to get into it, Andy, where we had a game on Wednesday, and then we had a game on Friday, and I was like, all right, here we go, Sunday. Yeah, no, we got to wait till tonight for Game 5. How was your weekend, my man, and what do you got in store for us here on a $9 Monday at Wager Talk?
Weekend was good. Unlike the NBA, I did not take the weekend off. We had lots of plays going up. It was good. Golf, we swept golf, which is it's a big week for me. As you know, the U.S. Open is this week, so we have that. But we also have a 5% NBA play that is up right now. We've got MLB, and we had such a great UFC, but we put it up last night for $9 Monday. So all that is on WagerTalk.com. We also have a promo code WIN50, WIN50, gets you 50% off a 30-day pass. It's a great time to get a 30-day pass because we've got a golf major this week. We've got Wimbledon coming up, which we're number 1 in tennis for this year. 5% tonight. Big UFC play going, and MLB had a really nice 2-1 yesterday. So a lot of really good things going on right now. A lot of sports coming up that we're going to have some success in. So pretty good time to grab a 30-day pass and lock in a month of profits on WagerTalk.com.
Oh, hell yeah, Andy, continuing to roll. And NHL, guys, he's been absolutely on fire the last couple of months. And we finally got a finals coming in the NHL, too. Hard to believe here. But, the NHL, NBA coming to a close. But, yes, so much money still to be made. The profits are rolling here. Tony Mejia knows a little something about the profits here because he continues to cash tickets. You got a little something for everybody here on Mejia on a $9 Monday. We got soccer, MLB, we got NBA tonight. What's going on at Wager Talk with you?
Yeah, we've got packages on all 3, 14-4 MLB money line run. So hope to add to that tonight with an MLB play. And I did not get to a 5% with tonight's finals game, so I compensated with a 4% play, highlighting an 8-pick package. Got some quarter plays in there, series future, since it's basically pick 'em again. And the winner, the total, disappointing Friday night, man. Looked like I was headed to a clean sweep. Had the Marcus Smart prop, had the Celtics first half money line. I think the Warriors third quarter got in there, and we're up 94, 95 minutes to go, laying 4 and liking the under, and then the Celtics went super cold. And Steph Curry took over, and the Warriors obviously forced a Game 5 with a 2-2. So, disappointing ending there. Spent some time mourning that, and then we played a little baseball all weekend. Losing day Saturday, winning day Sunday, and we'll move on to another week. Birthday week for me, Friday. So, turned 44.
All right, Mejia double digits. The old Reggie Jackson birthday. I love it, man. All right, no better way to celebrate the birthday and with cash and tickets all week long, Mejia. So should be an awful lot of fun. And Rob Vino knows a little something also about cashing those tickets this past weekend. Vino, USFL. You and I were talking before the show. You've had your finger on that sport all season long, that first season, and playoffs are just around the corner, so I know you're going to cash some tickets there, MLB, and, of course, NBA. So what do you got for us here, Vino, on a $9 Monday?
Yeah, $9 Monday. I found multiple ways to play this game tonight, Joe. Woo! So if you go to WagerTalk.com for $9, you'll find 4 plays on this NBA game tonight, plus a couple of MLB plays. The NBA's been good for the last 3.5 weeks, almost running into a month now, but 19-7, 73% over the last 26. This series in particular, 6-2, 75%. So NBA's been running really, really good. Like this game a little bit tonight from multiple angles. And like I say, a couple of Major League Baseballs there. The USFL this weekend was a split winner with New Orleans. They made us sweat that thing out, but a loser on the total over with Philadelphia and Pittsburgh first half. Philly had been 6-1 over in the first half this season, but low scoring 10-3 yesterday got us a split.
All right. Well, listen, we got plenty of ways to go at this game here tonight. We'll start by taking a quick look back at Game 4, which was feels like a month ago here. Also, want to send a shout out to our all the folks hanging out with us in the chat room here today, including the Gold Eagle 99, who anybody that throws up a Sade cover album as his picture, you are all right in my book, brother. That's what I'm. The Gold Eagle 99. Look at that, Sade, little smooth operator. Well done, my friend. That's right, a little sweetest taboo. Nice job, man. S. Warrior in the house. Manuel's here. Jake the Degenerate. Always a pleasure to see you guys on a Monday. Alex Keith also hanging out with us. Guys, take a look at that poll question here today. We want to know what the most likely outcome is, and you can see, you've got choices between who wins Game 6 and whether or not that correlates to winning the series here. So take a look at that. We'll check back with that in a few. But let's talk about what we saw in Game 4. And we had mentioned it, Rob Vino. It was so funny. We had talked about it on Friday, saying, listen, the edges are real for Boston. We know that. Younger, more athletic, bigger. They got the size. They've got everything, right? They got everything except the great equalizer, and that is Steph Curry. Because in just one game, any edge you got, here's your kiss my ass. Here's your edge. Has 43 sound. So Steph does it again. Feels kind of like a little one-man show, but Wiggins is there. What did you think of that Game 4 there? And Steph just basically putting the team on the back. And Boston, once again, Rob, not being able to take advantage of a golden opportunity after a great win. They followed up with 17 turnovers.
Yeah, and +6 with 7.5 left to go in the game on your home floor. Mm-hmm. And then proceed to go 2 for 11 with 1 turnover. The rest of the way only scored 6 points in the final 7:32. They proceeded to take 8 shots, Joe, between 22 and 27 feet away from the basket. Missed a couple layups, missed 1 mid-range. And worst of all, they didn't shoot a single free throw. And, the game before, like you say, Boston, 22 second chance points, plus 16 rebounds. All the things, plus 26 points in the paint, all the things that they're supposed to be able to do on paper. And yet with a 6-point lead and 7.5 left at home, they failed to do any of those. So, yes, Steph took advantage of what seemed like a Boston collapse. And it's funny, I was talking earlier with Jay Money on his show, and he happened to say, it's not true, but it just seems like Boston kind of screws around at times and is making things way more difficult for themselves than they have to be. They put themselves in this type of desperate must-win situation more often than not in the Milwaukee-Miami series, both of those, right, when they could have actually knocked somebody out they failed to do so and do it the hard way. So we'll see if they can do it the hard way here today.
You know, funny, Tony Mahir, on Friday, as we were given the best bets, one of the questions I had asked you, and we both were on the same page, should we be looking at Looney props? Because if they get out rebounded again, his series is pretty much over like that. He had to have been on the court, and sure enough, he came up huge for him. Plus 21, grabbed 11 boards in that game. So I don't know what took Steve Kerr so long to figure out that maybe he ought to get some more minutes, but he did, and he delivered here. Are you shocked it took Kerr that long to figure out that maybe Looney should be on the floor, or what with him? Because some of his decisions this series have been a bit head-scratching with Steve Kerr.
They have, but at the same time, I mean, consummate professional, right? Doesn't start. Otto Porter gets the nod for the first time all series, and then Looney comes off the bench and plays more and grabs the 11 boards you alluded to, and contributes heavily to the huge rebounding advantage. And between the rebounds, a lot offensive. Draymond Green did a nice job on the offensive boards, despite the fact that he's still not scoring and looks to be in his own head on that. He had 4 steals, had a bunch of assists, so he was plugged in more than he had been, and then he took his demotion, for lack of a better word, early in the first part of the fourth quarter, in stride and contributed well on the defensive end when they needed to lock down the stretch. So both Looney and Green did a great job, particularly on the boards and protecting the paint. And I think because we are right in terms of Boston is more athletic, especially when Robert Williams is right. They're bigger, they're stronger, and yet they get pushed around. And now not consecutive, but the 2 losses that they've suffered, they looked a little young. They made mistakes, a ton of mental errors, and they allowed the smaller team to create extra chances and out-hustle. So we'll see what happens with the Celtics tonight. If they have the right frame of mind to win a championship, and they certainly are going to prove it because they're going to have to do it on the road. One thing that does work into their advantage is they are 7-0 coming off a loss, so clearly they are resilient. They're 8-3 on the road this postseason. We know all that, and we're just going to have to see, because Jason Tatum let them down, and my projected Finals MVP Jaylen Brown let them down. Both had opportunities down the stretch and failed to come up with this strange thing. Jason Tatum, 14 of 31, 27.5% from the field on 2-pointers in this series. That's the worst percentage in the finals in 4 decades. And he's shooting over 40% from 3-point range. So I don't know if it's the shoulder at all. I think it's just the way he's being defended and not rising to the moment. So I certainly would not give him the Finals MVP nod from the Celtics. I think Jaylen Brown has outplayed him, and even Marcus Smart has made more contributions when they have one.
Good point there. And those numbers, guys, you can see on the left-hand side of your screen there. You'll see those MVP odds. It's Steph Curry and Tatum, but there's great. 7 or 8 to 1 for Jaylen Brown. Marcus Smart, I think, 12. You can get him at 120 to 1 too. There's some opportunities there. But Andy, from a prop betting perspective, this entire series, the zigzag theory has been phenomenal. But you got to be kidding me. Tatum is shit one game, next game, make sure you hammer everything, every prop there is known to mankind. And we've seen this. It's kind of been a crazy roller coaster from the prop betting market through 4 games as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, you start off with Al Horford with the huge game, then he doesn't do anything after game 1. Tony did a great job highlighting Jason Tatum's very strange shooting numbers. He's shooting 45.1% from threes in the playoffs and 45.6 from twos. Or overall field goal percentage. He's struggling at the rim. I believe his shoulder is bothering him because he can get to the rim. He's just not finishing. His shot numbers just scream that there's some kind of injury that's worse than they're leading on. 4 for 8 from 3-pointers in the last game, and then only 4 other made shots. So Marcus Smart, sometimes Marcus Smart gets a little heat for taking too many threes, but a lot of them are open. That's partly by design because Golden State would like him to do it, but some of them they just they get this hot potato thing going, and all of a sudden it ends up in Marcus Smart's hands with like 4 seconds left on the shot clock, and it's like the Allen Iverson thing. Like, well, stop
So
passing
true.
it to me. You know, if you don't want me to shoot it, stop passing it to me at the end of the shot clock. So, yeah. And then you look at Golden State. Wiggins has the huge game. He goes over. I've been talking about Wiggins and his point total going over the 16.5 number. He goes over again, but the books put it at 17.5 tonight. So I can't quite go there. The 16 rebounds definitely is an eyebrow raise. Way higher than normal. I wouldn't overreact completely to the rebounds. That kind of has a. I feel a lot of people may go with his rebounds over tonight because they see 16 in the last game, but that's just that's an anomaly. And then I do like what Kevin Looney brings to the table. I think he's a complete nuisance for Boston inside, and I did like what Kerr did, which is just say, I'm going to bring in off the bench and maybe create some lineup issues for Boston. Because, I mean, let's face it, Boston's struggling. Off the bench, they're bringing in Grant Williams, who's just a disaster. His points, rebounds, and assists is down to 10.5. That's how bad he's been this series. You got Pritchard, who, contributed 0 for 2 shooting. And then you got Derek White, who, I mean, let's face it, his confidence. Are we going to get confident Derek White, not confident Derek White? So Looney off the bench is really good. I kind of like Looney's points and rebounds prop if you're looking at it, just because I think the minutes that Kerr played him, he's just going to be the biggest and strongest guy. I do like Al Horford. Al Horford was going to be the one guy last game that I thought was going to suffer the most because only 1 day of rest. His legs are a little bit older, so if there is one guy that is going to benefit from the extra day, it's probably going to be Al Horford. I know he was 2 for 6 from the field, and all of those were 3-pointers, but the books have got his numbers pretty low, and, I mean, let's face it, he did have 6 rebounds, he did have 4 assists, he did have 8 points, and they've got him at 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So, last game he was at 18, and that was only on 1 day. So don't be surprised if Al Horford contributes a little bit more than what he did, especially because they're getting absolutely nothing from Grant Williams. It might just be one of those things where it's like, listen, Al, we need you. You got to be out there. You got to be out there 30. You got to give us 34, 35 minutes. Like, the guys coming in are not getting it done. So suck it up, Buttercup.
Get off the pot, Al. Let's go here. We need you. All right, you and your old ass. All right, guys. So it's been a hell of a series, although it feels like we've been talking about this series for 3 months. We do have an all-important Game 5 here tonight, so let's dive into some of the numbers here as the Boston Celtics opened up as a 3.5-point dog here on the road for this Game 5. That has since shot up to 4. Golden State getting much love there in the marketplace. 4s are there. Now, interesting enough, the total has been steamed down. 212, 212.5 in some spots opened up, all the way down to 210, 210.5 in some spots as well. I don't know that should shock anybody here. But if anybody's going to have their finger on what we can expect here tonight, it's going to be Rob Vino, because Vino, listen, it's been our mantra here on this show all year long, right? If it ain't broke, don't fucking fix it, period. Like, it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And these trends, Rob, are really tempting, aren't they? Because here we go, zigzagging our way through another series right now. We know January 29th, the last time we've actually seen the Celtics lose back-to-back games. They don't do it. And then we have the argument about how Golden State doesn't lose at home. And what a record that is. So how do you sort it all out here tonight? Vino, trends and all.
Yeah, I'll say this, Joe. The games within the game, and remember, there's a zillion play these things, but as much of a seesaw as full game side and full game total have been, A to B, back to A, back to B, you got some stuff that's been consistent all the way through. 4 consecutive first quarters have gone over the total. All 4, 60, 61, 55, and 55. Couldn't argue anybody off of playing first quarter over 52 tonight. Boston has covered 4 straight second quarters, 4-0 against the spread second quarter. Golden State, we've harped on it to death, but we should. It's profit-making. Golden State third quarters, 4-0. Warriors against the spread. And Boston Celtics in this series, 4-0 ATS in the first half. So there's 4 right there where, 16-0 combined. If you back them all, congratulations in every single game. You said we shouldn't be shocked that the total's been steamed down to 10.5, but I'm on the show, so I'm the guy who's shocked. 10.5 to me, Joe, I don't know. Again, what this series has presented, for as much inconsistency, there has been consistency. The 2 games Boston lost, much has been made of Jason Tatum, the 2 guys ahead of me here, shooting lousy from 2-point range. But the 2 games that they lost, the team has shot lousy from 2-point range. 15 of 43 in game 2, only 35%. 19 of 47 in game 4, only 40%. If Boston's not going to make 2s, they're not going to win games. But the 2 games that they did win, guess what? 50% from 2 in game 1, 55.6% from 2 in game 3. The way this has been going back and forth, I expect the 2-point percentage to come back. They've been so consistent from 3. They're out shooting Golden State from 3. I mean, they picked a bad time to start firing up threes with 7:32 left in the fourth quarter. But overall in this series, Boston's 42.4% from 3-point range. And remember, Miami was the number 1 team from 3 this year in an 82-game regular season and only shot 39. So they've been well above average from 3, better than Golden State. I think if you take into consideration that last game got to 204 with Boston doing what we described in the final 7:32, I mean, 204 to tonight's 210.5, you would have needed 7 more points out of Boston over those final 7 minutes. Heck, they took 12 shots and they didn't get a single free throw. I'd expect that to reverse a little bit here. Golden State shot a series worst, 44% from the field last game.
Yep.
Still got to 107 points. I mean, they have found a way, Joe. They haven't shot great in any game, tell you the truth. Golden State. And 107, 107, 108, 100. So Boston hasn't shown any, way to stop Golden State from getting to 105 or 106 here. Last game, I do this thing I've talked about quite often. I keep a statistic called potential points. If every single shot went in the basket, how many points would the teams have scored? Last game, game 4, had the most potential points of any game in this series. It's actually gone up. They would have scored 467 if they made every shot. That's the highest of the series, which shows me that the tempo's increased a little bit. The shot opportunities have increased a little bit. I don't see any reason. Again, we bet against numbers. We don't bet against anything else but numbers. And this 210.5 is 2.5, 3 points lower than any total we've seen so far. I get the theoretical stuff, right? Game 5, 2-2, things tighten up, all defense, they're good defenses. But still, 4 games to me is a big enough sample size to show me that Boston can score from 3-point land against this team. When they score from 2, they score 120 or 116. And Golden State can get to 107 on almost any night, shooting only mediocre. So I think 210.5 might be a decent way to go, among other ways.
Oh, liking that. I just knew Rob would have an answer for the total here. Absolutely here, Rob. If it ain't broke, do not fix it here. And we've talked about it on Friday there, Mejia. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, bet Golden State in the third quarter. What do you think? Another winner? Yes, another winner. That's what they do. But these trends are nuts. And most of them, and I love these kinds of trends because we've talked about it. When Boston is its own worst enemy, they have been all playoff long. I think that's fair to say, right? Another 17 turnovers in a loss in that game 4. They find ways to shoot themselves in the foot. It's mind-blowing. But what we know is that next game, after they are so sloppy and ridiculous with the turnovers, they dominate, and they've dominated. They have turned the ball over in the playoffs this year, 14 or more turnovers in a game. It's happened 12 times with them, which to me is just astonishing that they're even at this point being that sloppy. But we do know the following game, 9-3 straight up and against the number, 4-0 after having more than 15 turnovers, Mejia. Everything tells me that forget the turnovers. They had that game last game. This is going to be a different Celtic team tonight, or is it?
I don't know. I'm very docile right now, very calm, but I was not on Friday night watching that offense devolve into hot potato and let's take bad shots in the final few. I mean, it was awful, and let's not even put our heads down at home. I'm getting mad now, and get a foul, please. I mean, it was absurd. And yeah, I mean, you mentioned the turnover, 17.5 in the 2 losses, 12.5 in the 2 wins. Tatum is really shrinking, even though he's putting up numbers. I like Jason Tatum in game 1. Yeah, he did force some shots, especially followed out assists, I believe, and he played facilitator, and he let the game come to him largely because he was seeing triple teams, and he was trusting his teammates, and they ended up after being down, entering the fourth, obviously turning that around with a 24-point edge in the fourth. We talked about, Rob talked about the first quarter over hitting all 4 times. We've had blowout city for it seems like the last month in the NBA playoffs. But if you bet the first halves of these games and these finals, or that first quarter the other night, it came down to the final shot from Grant Williams at the buzzer. Yep. So people were celebrating that, I'm sure, or those who had the under, really, because it looked like an under all the way through until the final minute and a half. So, I mean, there's been some close things gambling-wise, but the third quarter's been a blowout. It's been Golden State decisively every time, and I don't know that there's a remedy for that, especially going from home to road. Same thing with the turnovers. If you want to say, well, is Boston going to clean up its act? It's more likely that they would have done that at home, right, as opposed to on the road where there's an added layer of pressure because of the hostile crowd. I mean, they should be used to it at this point, and they have been a good road team. It's just a matter of executing, though. I mean, I think that Boston's a better team, but we've seen their depth edge kind of wilt over the course of this series to where you're bringing Kevon Looney off the bench, and Otto Porter's been solid regardless of the role he's in, and Grant Williams is shrunk. And Grant Williams was amazing in Game 7 against the Bucks. He was really solid against the Miami Heat, and he's strong early. So he needs to show back up. I think that the under is understandable, although Rob made great points, because of the rationale that we will see things slow down the stretch, especially since that was the case in the fourth quarter. So it's almost like a recency bias with that in terms of, maybe we'll get another 20-18 fourth quarter if it's tight down the stretch. But again, I expect Jaylen Brown to show up in this game. The last thing I'll mention is big deal for me to go 5% on that game 4 because I wasn't going to, but it was all about Steph Curry and getting his hurt in the end of game 3 and not knowing what to expect from him. And then he responds with a 7-14 shooting performance from 3, 43 points, 10 rebounds. To talk about what Andy mentioned earlier about watch yourself with Andrew Wiggins' rebound. All these, Klay Thompson's getting in there and mixing it up. And so you've got Looney, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry rebounding. So, don't put your eggs in the Andrew Wiggins basket. But, I mean, I'm expecting what has been a competitive finals that all of the final scores have really not looked close. I think we get a close game.
Yeah, well, it could be. I mean, it's we haven't gotten one where the spread comes into play just yet, but there's a first for everything there, Andy. And, man, it's kind of tough. I mean, how do you hone in here on the prop betting market here tonight? We know the Celtics have been flat-out dominant on the road. We know, much like Boston, after a dominating performance, they take their foot off the gas and they look mediocre the next game. Same thing can be said about Golden State. They haven't covered the number in after 8 of their last 11 wins, so they too tend to take their foot off the gas and come, be a little complacent after that dominating win. So who are you looking at tonight? Which side? Is it a fade? Is it a bounce back? How are you approaching the prop betting market tonight?
Well, I'll go over team totals real quick. So Boston's is 103.5. they've gone way over in their wins and way under in their losses. So if you think they're going to lose tonight, look at their team total, way under. Golden State, Golden State's interesting. The team total is 107.5. They've scored 107 twice and 108 in another game. So absolutely no value in that one whatsoever. I also will point out the last 3 second half totals: 101, 92, and 93.
Yep.
And if you're a believer in the third quarter, which obviously we've gone over that bet, but part of it has just been how lackadaisical Boston sometimes come out in the third quarter. I don't know what they do in the locker room if they're sniffing melatonin or something. They just come out slow, and it only takes one team to have one bad quarter to hit an under. In the second half, and Boston outside of game one has been the culprit in why those have been under. A couple of player props to look at. Jason Tatum, they've had his rebounds and assists set at 12.5. They bumped it up to 13.5. I still think you can go back to it. He's gone over in 3 out of 4 games. The only game he didn't go over was the blowout game 2, played less minutes. He's had 18, 15, and 17 in the other 3 games. So if you're a believer in Tatum having a big game, maybe it's not necessarily in the points department, but he's been very active rebounds, very active assists. And then we hit this last one, Klay Thompson over 3.5 made threes. He's gone over now in 2 straight games. Last show on Friday, we mentioned he had 13 attempts in game 3. I said if he gets to double digits attempts, he's going to go over. He did. Got a 10 attempts, hit 4 of them. I mean, at home, that stadium's going to be rocking. Steph and Klay can just get in those zones and rip off a bunch of 3-pointers right in a row. So you got to believe Boston is going to do even more to try and take away Steph Curry. I think Klay can get upwards of 10 attempts, and if he's open, he's going to hit those with everything rolling. So a couple of those. Also, depending on what the minutes are, Otto Porter, they have his points, rebounds, and assists at 10.5. He started last game, but he only played 15 minutes, came in way under. So you might get a little bit of value on that. He has only had a couple shot attempts in each game. So low number on Otto Porter. If he gets the start, don't expect him to play some minutes. So that might be a sneaky under as well.
All right, so we've got the all-important question coming from the chat room here, and I know Rob Vino's got it. All right. Slim Large. Well done. Well done, Slim Large. Rob Vino, who's officiating tonight? Says Slim Large. He's asking, man, who's officiating? It is a game 5. We are tied, so we don't necessarily need an extender at this point, but who might be on the court here tonight, Vino?
Well, we know Mark Davis is the lead official tonight. Mark Davis had game 1 in this series. Mark Davis, guys, in the playoffs, 13 games reffed as the lead official. 10 of those have gone under. 9 of those 10 have gone under 211. However, he had game 1 in this series, which just happened to be the highest scoring game in this entire series. So under trends, whatever they are, to get one game Mark Davis was present and so far scored 228 points. Tony Brothers, who is not a friend to the Boston Celtics. In fact, a few years back, Boston Celtic fans started a petition to never have Tony Brothers ref another Celtic game for the rest of his life. Tony Brothers' numbers, where Boston is concerned, the last 20 that he's reffed, Boston's 4-16 straight up. The last 15 playoff games with Boston involved that he's reffed, Boston's 3-11-1 against the spread. So obviously Tony Brothers doing a lot of trending on Twitter today because Celtic fans are scared to death. Golden State was afraid of Scott Foster the other day. In return, now they get Tony Brothers. And last but not least, Josh Tiven is your third guy in. So there's your referee crew for the night. And, we'll see what it brings here. Like I say, those are the numbers that they've posted. But again, Mark Davis is the guy who repped the 120 to 108 first game of the series. So take those numbers with a grain of salt, whatever you want. I'm going to say this real quick, Joe.
Sure.
About the starting lineup that Steve Kerr used the other day where Otto Porter Jr. started. According to Steve Kerr, and reading and listening to a bunch of what he said, he just finds it very difficult at this point in time to have Kevon Looney and Draymond Green on the floor at the same time. We talked about how bad Jason Tatum's two-point shooting has been. Draymond Green currently has the fourth worst field goal shooting percentage overall of any player in the finals history. So he can't have Looney. I guess he decided I can't have Looney and Green on the floor very much at the same time, because then I'm playing 3-on-5 or on offense, because neither one's a threat to score. And what you said to start this show at the very beginning, I think is what we're all starting to see here. What was prior to game one an explosive, description-wise, Golden State's an explosive three-point shooting team. Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. It's really turned into a one-man band without everybody else watching Curry perform. You wonder if that doesn't hinder them tonight. We'll see if Golden State can snap out of it a little bit, but Steph is good enough to score points for them. But boy, oh boy, it does look like Steve Kerr, the only reason he went to that lineup was because he just can't have those two guys on the floor at the same time, Green and Looney.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of truth to that. So the question is now, what does the Celtics do to combat that? Do we see more Robert Williams and Horford on the court at the same time? What do they do in order to try and get back to having that edge on the boards here? It's a fascinating game 5, one in which, guys, it cannot be understated here. What you want to talk about trends? This one cannot be denied either. And we are talking about historical data here in terms of the team that wins game 5 in the best of 7 series, in which they go into that game 5 knotted up 2 apiece. 182-40 in the series. They eventually go on to win 182-40. 82%, guys. So you think game 5 is pretty damn important here tonight? History tells us, yeah, it's pretty damn important here. And also a big shout out to our man Revenant in the chat room, who came out and reminded us of what Ralph's unbelievable stat was that came out, and it's probably bears repeating, guys. If you do not know this stat, Ralph Michaels posted it last week, and it turned a lot of heads. And it has to do with the spread is 6 or less in the NBA Finals. The team who wins that game, 73-0-2 against the number when it is 6 or less in an NBA Finals game. Tony Mejia, does that shock you a little bit? Or is that pretty much in line with the thinking when we get to the finals, anything less than 6, they're just winning outright, man. The spreads aren't coming into play.
Yeah, no, we've heard this for years, but for popping and ridiculous, just the consistency of it. But again, we've had some close games down the stretch. Game 1, where the Celtics obviously overtook the Warriors, but it was a little bit in the fourth before Boston pulled away, obviously coming back from a 12-point deficit. And in game 4, where we had basically a 91-90 game. Marcus Smart hits the 3, and it's 94-90 with just over 5 minutes to go, and Celtics don't score again until there's a minute and a half left, and they're way behind by 6. So I mean, again, it's a lot of things, but mostly, if a game is tight down the stretch, you will continue to see fouling, because nobody's going to give up on a finals game. So the team that's laying points has a good shot of covering the number. And again, if you think Golden State's going to win this game, you're laying those 4, because you know that you have Steph Curry and presumably Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson to close that out, lights out free throw shooters. Not quite Avery Johnson in the 06 finals where he switched hotels. I know you know that story, Joe.
Yep.
Florida. But I would not be surprised if we see a strategy switch, stealth mode from Ime Udoka and the Celtics, because they're essentially daring Steph Curry to beat him. And I understand game 4 physically, but after he's averaging 34 points a game on you, he's dominated the entire bodies at him and take your shot with somebody else beating you. Because I understand the rationale. You don't want to get guys going.
Right.
You want them to stand around and watch Steph. We talked about that potentially being a liability. But again, he's killing you, and now he's home. So will we see Marcus Smart get additional help and then make Steph a passer? It would be interesting. And again, like I said, it wouldn't be a bad strategy. Not like Avery flipping hotels because he didn't like his Mavericks going out at night in South Florida. But look, and I think Jordan Poole is interesting because he's underachieved in this series, but he's got a monster game in him and potentially could come at home. So I think if you like the Warriors tonight, a Jordan Poole prop going over that might be up your alley.
I love it. All right, guys, a moment of truth here for a Game 5 tonight. We're not understating it, I don't think, and I don't believe we're overstating it. Again, the winner of Game 5 in a series that's tied 2-2, guys, 182-40. That team who wins Game 5 goes on to win the series. And right now, the series prices, guys, are interesting too, right? So I think it's, minus 130 for Golden State, somewhere around plus 125 for Boston. Far be it from me to suggest that whoever you pick to win tonight, you may want to correlate it with that series price now. I'm just saying. So for those of you that are screaming and yelling, Boston's the better team, take them to win tonight and make sure you take them for the series price as well. Also, don't forget, guys, we're asking you in the chat room, what is that most likely scenario tonight? Take a vote in there. We'll give you guys the results here coming up. Celtics win Game 6, win series. Celtics lose Game 6, win series. And, of course, the same for Golden State. Win 6, win the series. Lose 6, win Game 5, rather, and win the series. So what is the most likely outcome of this series? And now let's throw 60 seconds on the clock, and let's hear some best bets. And, Andy, we're starting with you, man. Drop that prop knowledge on us. Where you going here tonight?
I'm going with you. With this guy, you could use this phrase a lot, like, well, he didn't play a whole lot in Game 2, and so he went under, and that's Marcus Smart. Before I get to my best bet, just remind everybody, we got a 5% play up in the NBA. We have the U.S. Open golf this week. We got Wimbledon coming up, so use the promo code WIN50, WIN50, to get 50% off a 30-day pass. It's a smoking deal to get a month of profits in all the sports that we cover. But I'm going Marcus Smart. There's a lot of different categories you can go over. I'm going to stick with 2.5 made three-pointers. In that Game 2 blowout, he only played 25 minutes. Bad shooting night, 0 of 3 from the field, got banged up. But he's gone over in every other game, and they have this at plus money on 2.5 made threes. He's had 7 attempts, and 9 attempts in the other games. He's made 3 three-pointers in each of the last 2 games. He's not scared to shoot. I love it, so I'm going to take him to get over 2.5 threes once again.
All right. Love it. Yeah, the 3 props are interesting here in this game for sure tonight here. I wonder if we're going to get some fading of the Klay Thompson money here tonight. All those Klay Thompson backers from a couple of nights ago. I wonder if we still going over 3.5. It'll be interesting. Mahia, talk to us here, my man. $9 Monday. I know you are locked and loaded, but tell us, give us a best bet here for this game number 5 tonight.
Yeah, I will go with another Marcus Smart prop. But let me repeat. I got a 4% MLB play. And if you want to parlay this game any way you want to slice it with something, bet Canada to win at Honduras. Ooh. It's a final road World Cup tune-up for them, and they're pretty good. Honduras is playing backups. Marcus Smart, he's gone over 4.5. It was 22.5 in Game 3 after his terrible performance, but he's gone over that number, 24, 7, and 5 in Game 3. Points, rebounds, and assists were 22.5. 18, 4, and 5 in Game 4. That was 24.5. It's 24.5 tonight. And I'm not going to go back to the well, even though I've won consecutive weeks. I am consecutive games on that. I'm going to go with steals over 1.5. It's even money. He had 2 in Game 1, 4 in Game 4, and I think he gets at least 2 tonight. Probably getting some help from Stephen Curry, and he'll against Stephen Curry, and he will get a couple of steals tonight. That is my best bet. Marcus Smart over 1.5 steals.
Boom! I like it. Revenant likes Smart over his points plus assists. He likes that over as well. So a lot of prop betting happening with surrounding Marcus Smart here tonight, who is, shall we say, pretty vital to whether or not the Celtics win tonight or, of course, win this series. So Good opportunities across the prop betting market tonight, guys, for some of these players. And Rob Vino, man, I feel a first half. I feel some sort of total coming our way here, my man. But it is $9 Monday. Remind everyone what you've got at WagerTalk and drop us a best bet here tonight for this Game 5.
Yeah, we have a pair of 4% best bets on this NBA game up and available, WagerTalk.com. You can also get a couple of Major League Baseball releases right now, $9 Monday, WagerTalk.com. Joe, I will go via the total route, and I'll go first quarter, Boston Celtics over 25.5 points. They've been over 25.5 in every single first quarter in this series, 28, 30, 33, and 28 once again. Easily over all 4 times when you consider it's at least 2.5 points over. And I think off of what happened in the final 7:32 of the first half, that they'll come out of the gate here playing pretty well. I think they're venue proof. I think they showed in game 1 when they came off a win in game 7 against Miami, had to fly cross country on shorter rest in Golden State and won the fourth quarter, not the first, second, or third, but won the fourth quarter 40-16. I think they showed at that point they're venue proof. And I think you could take advantage of the small lineup off this at the start of the game here. So give me over 25.5 first quarter Boston Celtics.
Ooh, love it. Can't go wrong with that here. Guys, a lot of different ways to throw it out there. I'll give you a couple here too as well. Guys, don't forget to throw a quick vote in there for our poll question today about winning Game 6 and how it correlates to winning the series. So a lot, of course, depends on who you think is going to win tonight, but I think this will tell us and give us a pretty good idea on which way you guys are leaning for a Game 5 as well. We also have a ton of over first quarter. Loving that. A lot of guys in the chat room loving the over in the first quarter there, 51.5, I think. Is that about right, Vino? Right now, total the first half or first quarter total, I believe, was 51.5. That looks to be a pretty good consensus there across everyone. Celtics also getting the half point in the first quarter. Celtics +2 first half. Lot of Celtics love in here, guys. It's interesting across the board in the chat room. And then there's the Golden State Warrior crew led by the one and only Ski Prophet, who's got to have, 12 different burner accounts in here. Star Child all over the first half again. I know where you're at, Star Child. But Ski, man, just throwing all sorts of love in there. One more time, guys, a quick recap for today. We've got Andy Lang going Marcus Smart over 2.5 made 3-point field goals. A lot of consensus with the guys in the chat room on this. Mejia, they love your Marcus Smart over 1.5 steals as well. And Rob Vino going, I'll take the team total, the first quarter team total over 25.5. And if it ain't broke, don't freaking fix it, right? So I just don't know how you don't bang Golden State at home in the third quarter. Just take it. Take the Boston Celtics first quarter, first half. You know what's coming here, guys. The difference in this game is going to be what happens in the third quarter. And what happens, of course, in the fourth quarter in which Golden State finally won a fourth quarter in that last game. The first half, I think, can only go one way here, guys, and one way only. And as far as our poll question, again, most likely scenario, Celtics going to win Game 6, and, of course, that would mean they win the series, 44%. So that looks like a lot of guys thinking tonight is going to be all about the green. However, Warriors win Game 6, win the series. Also some love. Not a lot of you guys think we're going to go 7 here, it doesn't look like. A lot of you guys think the winner tonight is going to win it all together. It's been pretty profitable throughout history, guys. In that Game 5 with a series knotted up to apiece, 82%, that team eventually goes on to win it all. So hit the like button, hit that little thumbs up there, and of course, make sure you are subscribing to the channel. Those of you just new here joining us on WagerTalk, we appreciate it. There is a lot of money still to be made here in the NBA through these last couple of games. If the NBA has anything to do with it, it's going 7, guys. I hate to break it to you. Scott Foster is on speed dial. His ass is coming into one of these games here, whether it be 6 or 7. It's happening here, guys. But on behalf of Andy, Tony Mejia, and Rob Vino, we appreciate the time, guys. Best of luck with your plays tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
Who's thinking about buying football in June? Well, with the super early bird football promotion at WagerTalk and Sports Memo, we have a few reasons why. Early bird pricing for NFL and college football combo is $8.99. But using coupon code FOOTBALL100, you can take $100 off, dropping the price to $7.99. If you purchase by June 30th and use coupon code FOOTBALL100 to get your $100 discount, we'll also toss in an additional bonus. On July 4th, we'll take the highest scoring MLB game of the day and give you $10 for every run scored. Yes, so if July 4th, the highest scoring game is 10-9, you will get $190 in wager bucks to use how you choose. This super early bird $100 discount using Football 100 and Wager Bucks bonus expires on June 30th with no exceptions. So if you plan to bet football this year, this is the lowest price we will offer. So act fast and lock in your favorite football handicappers in both NFL and college football through the national